Everything I did for you. I did it because I love you. Don't you felt the same way about me?
Me? Love you? Bitch, you got to be crazy. I use you. You're a toy, bitch. A freak. You get your big country, greasy ass back to the country where you belong.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Get Jesse, bitch!
The tension between 50 Cent and Papoose just crossed a line nobody saw coming, and now fans are split straight down the middle. What started as subtle shade and social media side-eyes has officially turned into full-blown beef after this one moment ignited everything. Insiders say the fallout wasn't accidental and the timing way too perfect to be a coincidence. 50 Cent, known for never backing down and never forgetting, allegedly took aim in a way that hit close to home, while Papoose, usually calm and calculated, responded with a level of energy fans aren't used to seeing from him. What made things worse is that this didn't stay private. Screenshots started circulating, old interviews resurfaced, lyrics were reanalyzed. And suddenly, a situation that looked small exploded into something much bigger. Now the hip-hop world is asking the same question. Did 50 Cent cross a line, or did Papoose wait too long to respond? With egos, legacy, and respect all on the line, this feud isn't just about words, it's about who really holds power in today's rap culture. And if you think this ends here, think again. What happened next might permanently change how both men are viewed in the industry. The hip-hop world is no stranger to beef. But when two respected names like 50 Cent and Papoose are suddenly mentioned in the same sentence for all the wrong reasons, people pay attention. What makes this situation different isn't just the clash of personalities, it's the history, the reputations, and the unspoken rules of respect that appear to have been violated. To understand why this beef escalated so quickly, you have to look at how it started, what was said behind the scenes, and why this specific moment pushed everything over the edge. For years, 50 Cent has maintained a reputation as hip-hop's ultimate strategist. He doesn't just diss, he calculates. Whether it's Ja Rule, Fat Joe, Diddy, or industry executives, 50 Cent's approach has always been the same. Wait, observe, then strike when the timing benefits him the most. Papoose, on the other hand, has built his name differently. Known as a lyrical purist, a battle-tested MC, and a fiercely loyal husband, Pap has largely stayed away from messy industry drama. That contrast alone is why fans were shocked when tension between the two started brewing. The earliest signs of friction didn't come from a diss record or a direct call-out. Instead, it came through subtle commentary, the kind that only hip-hop fans catch. 50 Cent began making vague remarks during interviews and on social media about street credibility, real lyricists, and rappers who talk tough but never had real pressure. At first, no one connected the dots. 50 has always talked like this. But then fans noticed something strange. Every time Papoose' name trended for a positive reason, whether it was a freestyle, an interview clip, or praise for his lyrical consistency, 50 would post something cryptic shortly afterward. Papoose initially ignored it. Those close to him say he didn't see 50 Cent as a direct threat, or even a rival. After all, their careers existed in different lanes. 50 was the mainstream mogul rapper who turned beef into billion-dollar branding. Papoose was the underground-bred lyricist who earned respect without chasing charts. But hip-hop history has proven time and time again that ignoring 50 Cent doesn't make him go away. It usually encourages him. Things took a sharper turn when 50 Cent allegedly mocked Papoose' relevance, suggesting that lyrical skill without commercial dominance meant very little in today's rap game. That statement alone struck a nerve with fans who view Papoose as one of the last defenders of traditional hip-hop values. Still, Pap stayed quiet. No response, no tweets, no interviews. Just silence. That silence didn't last forever, according to industry insiders. The real breaking point came after a private situation became public. While details remain intentionally vague, multiple sources claim 50 Cent referenced something personal, something that wasn't meant for social media or public consumption. The moment screenshots surfaced, everything changed. Fans immediately recognized the shift in tone. This wasn't playful trolling anymore. This was personal. For Papoose, this wasn't just about ego, it was about respect. In hip-hop culture, there's an unspoken rule. Lyrical competition is fair game. But dragging personal matters into the spotlight crosses a line. Especially when the person on the receiving end has spent decades avoiding controversy. The perception quickly flipped from 50 being 50 inches to 50 going too far. When Papoose finally responded, the energy surprised everyone. Instead of a calm dismissal, Pap delivered a direct, pointed response measured, but unmistakably sharp. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't throw insults for shock value. Instead, he attacked credibility, character, and authenticity. Fans noticed something important. Papoose wasn't trying to win a social media battle. He was positioning himself for a longer war. That response alone reignited debates that have existed in hip-hop for years. What matters more, sales or skill? Influence or integrity? 50 Cent represents an era where dominance was measured in numbers, fear, and control of narratives. Papoose represents an era where bars, respect, and staying solid mattered more than chart position. This beef suddenly became symbolic of a larger cultural divide. Social media did what it always does. It poured gasoline on the fire. Old clips resurfaced of Papoose critiquing commercial rappers. Vintage interviews of 50 Cent mocking lyricists came back into circulation. Fans began dissecting lyrics from both men's catalogs, claiming they were subliminal shots years in the making. Whether true or not, perception became reality. What made the situation even worse was who stayed silent. Several artists who usually jump into conversations like this refused to take sides. That silence spoke volumes. Some interpreted it as fear of 50 Cent's influence. Others saw it as quiet support for Papoose, letting him fight his own battle. Either way, the lack of public mediation allowed the tension to grow unchecked. Behind the scenes, rumors suggest attempts were made to cool things down. Mutual contacts allegedly reached out, advising both men to let it go before it escalated further. But by then, the narrative had already escaped their control. Fans weren't asking if this beef would continue anymore, they were asking how far it would go. By the end of this phase, one thing was clear. This wasn't a quick exchange that would fade in a news cycle. Too much had been said. Too many lines had been blurred. And too much pride was involved. If part 1 was about tension quietly building, beneath the surface, part 2 is where everything officially exploded. This was the moment fans now point to as the point of no return, the incident that turned what could have been brushed off as social media trolling into a full-scale hip-hop beef with real consequences. The situation escalated when 50 Cent made a move that looked calculated, not emotional. During what appeared to be a routine online post, 50 dropped commentary that many believe was aimed directly at Papoose, but layered in a way that gave him plausible deniability. He didn't say Pap's name, but he didn't have to. The timing, the wording, and the references were too specific to ignore. Within minutes, fans were connecting dots, pulling receipts, and tagging Papoose into the conversation. What made this post different from the others was the context. At the time, Papoose was receiving renewed praise for his consistency, his lyricism, and his longevity, especially in contrast to rappers who had leaned more into business and celebrity than bars. Instead of letting that moment pass, 50 appeared to undercut it by framing lyrical respect as irrelevant without dominance, money, and fear. To some, it read like a general opinion. To others, it felt like a direct shot at everything Papoose stands for. But the real damage didn't come from the post itself. It came from what followed. Almost immediately, old footage and interviews began resurfacing, including clips where 50 Cent openly dismissed lyric-focused rappers as background noise in the industry. Fans paired those clips with past statements from Papoose, where he criticized rappers who relied on controversy rather than craft. Whether these moments were originally connected didn't matter anymore. The narrative was set. This was a clash of philosophies, not just personalities. Then came the moment that truly shifted the tone. According to multiple insiders, 50 Cent allegedly referenced a private conversation, one that was never meant for public ears. While he avoided explicit details, the implication was clear enough that people close to Papoose immediately recognized what was being alluded to. Screenshots spread fast, group chats lit up, Industry figures began quietly reaching out to both sides. For Papoose, this wasn't just disrespect, it was a violation. Those who know Pap describe him as someone who values loyalty and boundaries above all else. He's known for keeping family matters private and for refusing to exploit personal situations for clout. That's why many believe this was the exact moment he decided silence was no longer an option. The line between rap competition and personal intrusion had been crossed. When Papoose responded this time, it wasn't just sharper, it was strategic. Instead of firing off a quick emotional reply, Pap took his time. His response was deliberate, layered, and aimed at exposing contradictions. He questioned 50 Cent's credibility as a gatekeeper of hip-hop culture, pointing out that commercial success doesn't automatically equal respect. Without yelling or insulting, Pap reframed the conversation in a way that forced fans to choose sides. That response hit harder than people expected. Why? Because it challenged 50 Cent's greatest weapon, narrative control. For decades, 50 has dominated beefs by making his opponent look emotional, irrational, or desperate. But Papoose didn't give him that opening. He stayed calm. He stayed focused. And most importantly, he stayed on message. That alone disrupted the usual power dynamic. The internet reaction was immediate and intense. Fans of lyricism rallied behind Papoose, praising him for standing firm without resorting to clown tactics. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's supporters argued that Pap was overreacting and should have known what comes with industry conversations involving 50. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to breaking down every sentence, every pause, every possible subliminal, and then, unexpectedly, other artists started reacting not directly but subtly. Likes, reposts, cryptic captions. Some aligned themselves with messages about respect and code. Others shared content about dominance and winning at all costs. No names were mentioned, but everyone knew what was being referenced. What made things worse was 50 Cent's refusal to escalate. Instead of clarifying or walking things back, he leaned into the chaos. He continued posting ambiguous content, seemingly enjoying the fact that people were arguing over his intent. To many, it looked like classic 50 letting the internet do the dirty work while he watched from a distance. To others, it felt reckless, especially considering Papoose's reputation as someone who doesn't bark unless he's ready to bite. Behind closed doors, industry figures reportedly grew concerned. This wasn't just about diss records or online jokes anymore. It was about legacy. Both men have spent decades building their names in very different ways. And now those legacies were being compared, dissected, and judged in real time. At this stage, reconciliation seemed unlikely. Too much had been implied. Too many personal boundaries had been tested. And too many fans had invested emotionally in seeing how this would play out. What once looked like a misunderstanding had transformed into a symbolic battle over what hip-hop values in the modern era. By the end of Part 2, one thing became painfully clear. This beef wasn't accidental. Whether intentionally or not, 50 Cent had pushed the situation to a point where walking away would look like weakness. And Papoose, having finally spoken up, couldn't afford to back down without losing the very respect he'd spent his career protecting. By the time this situation reached its current stage, it was no longer just about a few posts, subliminals, or bruised egos. The beef between 50 Cent and Papoose had evolved into a test of pride, legacy, and control, and that's what makes it dangerous. At this level, neither man can afford to look like he folded, because folding would rewrite how their entire careers are remembered. For 50 Cent, backing down has never been part of the playbook. His brand was built on dominance, fearlessness, and the idea that once he locks in on a target, there's no retreat. Every major beef he survived reinforced that image. So from his perspective, softening his stance now wouldn't just weaken his position against Papoose, it would chip away at the persona he's spent decades protecting. That's why many believe 50 will continue to escalate. Not necessarily with music, but with pressure, narratives, jokes, strategic silence, and well-timed commentary. Papoose, however, is fighting a very different battle. For him, this isn't about intimidation or shock value. It's about respect and code. Pap has always represented discipline, structure, and lyrical integrity. If he lets personal boundaries be crossed without consequence, it undermines everything he stands for. That's why insiders say Papoose is prepared for a long game one that doesn't rely on viral moments, but on consistency and credibility. What makes this feud especially volatile is that neither man needs the other for relevance. This isn't a desperate grab for attention. Both are established. Both have loyal fan bases. And both have something real to lose. That's a rare combination in modern rap beef, where many conflicts burn out quickly because one side has more to gain than the other. Another factor adding fuel to the fire is outside influence. Fans, blogs, and commentators are constantly reframing the narrative, often exaggerating or misinterpreting statements to keep engagement high. Every silence becomes suspicious. Every post becomes a potential diss. In that environment, even restraint can be mistaken for weakness. There's also the unspoken question of music. So far, this conflict has lived mostly in conversation and commentary. But if it crosses into records, the stakes change dramatically. A song makes things permanent. Bars can be walked back. And once lyrics are released, they live forever quoted, analyzed, and replayed for years. That's why many believe Papoose would only step into that lane if absolutely necessary. And if he does, fans expect it to be surgical, not sloppy. The industry itself is watching closely. Executives, promoters, and collaborators don't like unpredictability. A beef that spirals out of control can impact tours, partnerships, and business relationships. Both men understand that, which suggests any next move will be calculated. But calculation doesn't always prevent collision, especially when pride is involved. At the heart of it all is a simple truth. This beef represents a clash of eras and values. 50 Cent symbolizes an era where power was taken, not requested. Papoose represents an era where respect was earned, not enforced. Neither approach is wrong, but when they collide, compromise becomes nearly impossible. As it stands now, the tension remains unresolved. No apologies. No clarifications. No peace offerings. Just a quiet standoff, with both sides waiting for the other to blink. And in hip-hop history, moments like this rarely end quietly. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Because this situation is bigger than just two names going back and forth. The 50 Cent versus Papoose beef has officially become a conversation about what hip-hop values today, and where the culture is headed next. Is it about dominance and numbers or integrity and bars? And when personal lines get crossed, who's really in the wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think 50 Cent crossed a line by bringing private matters into the spotlight? Or did Papoose wait too long to speak up? If this turns into a lyrical showdown, who do you think really has the advantage? And why? Make sure you like this video if you appreciate deep breakdowns that go beyond headlines. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next. This story is far from over, and the next development could shift the entire narrative overnight. Also, hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when new details drop. With the way this beef is escalating, one post, one interview, or one record could completely change the game. Most importantly, share this with a real hip-hop fan, someone who understands the culture.